Nollywood actor Kenneth Okonkwo and also the spokesperson of Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council has stated that Labour Party is no longer the third force in Nigeria politics, but it is now the first force. According to him, he said, "No party won more states than we did in the presidential election, and we just came in 8 months to the elections. And as you know, we won even by their concocted results. We won Lagos, FCT, and obviously, we won Rivers. We are still going to prove it."
Well, sorry, we are not the third force. After the presidential election, we are now the first force. We are not the third force anymore. The people of Nigeria have spoken, and they have said that we are the first force. No party won more states than we did in the presidential election. And we just came in like 8 months to the election. And as you can know, we won even by their concocted result. We won Lagos, we won FCT, obviously we won Rivers. We are still, going to prove it. We won in the national chairman of APC's state. We won in the DG of APC state. We won everywhere, including their polling unit. So we are the first force now by the power of the Nigerian people. So it will be wrong to say that we are the third force. We are the first force. We will soon reclaim our mandate.
Okay, so let me piggyback. I was asking Olukaide before you joined about the win in Lagos State. Did that come as a surprise to Labour Party, or is it something that you think was bound to happen, given the sentiments, the conversations, the narratives that have been floating around in this election season? How does the party view the win of Lagos State?
Well, the only surprising thing is that we won by almost 1 million votes, and they shrunk it to just 10,000 votes after stealing a lot of our votes, which we are going to prove. So that's the only surprising thing. But it was not surprising that we were going to win Lagos. We've always said it, that we will win Lagos, and we won Lagos. So the only surprising thing is the blatant voter suppression, vote stealing, vote swapping, manipulation, and brutalizing the people that just came out to vote, just to make sure that we don't win Lagos. But we won Lagos, even by their concocted results.
And that's something that Labour is expecting to go to court on. So, Kenneth, I want to stick with this conversation around the sort of win in Labour Party, the Labour Party's win in Lagos. Because throughout this election and campaigning season, I know I've heard, and many Nigerians have heard many times, that Labour Party is a party that lacks structure. It's not a viable opposition party, or not a viable party in order to change the status quo of how things happen in Nigeria. So what do you think the win in Lagos tells, one, the electorate, and also two, tells the opposition and also the political class in the country? So I quickly want to get your thoughts on what you think the win in Lagos means or tells the electorate, and also tells other opposition parties as well as the political class in Nigeria.
The winning in Lagos State is very simple. The lesson is very clear. The structure is the people. In a democracy, sovereignty belongs to the people, not to the political parties, not to any individual. The people are the custodian of the power in a democracy. We've always told people that the people are our structure, and they have proved it beyond reasonable doubt in Lagos. And the people mean the Yoruba, the Hausa, the Igbo, the downtrodden, the students that were denied education for 9 months, Nigerians that are laboring under fuel scarcity, under Naira redesign, going to and fro, confusion and conflagration in APC government. So when we talk about structure in a democracy, we're not talking about bullion van instigated democracy. We're not talking about vote buying. We're talking about the people of Nigeria. The people of Nigeria spoke in Lagos. Let me say one thing. I think people are actually overrating the power of Ndibo in Lagos. Without the Yoruba in Lagos, we will not be able to win Lagos, period. So it is the people's structure Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo, that made us to be winning. They want competence, they want character, they want capacity in the leadership of Nigeria. They want to remove the structure of corruption, structure of criminality, structure of impunity that has been pervading Nigeria. And they want to build a new Nigeria. That is what they spoke on the election of February 25th.
So let's follow up with that, because when it comes to this structure issue, now there's something that Labour Party can point to. The party won 6 senatorial seats, and it also won 34 House of Representatives seats, along with the wins of other...
The ones that were allocated to us for now.
Okay, so you're contesting that. So, but along with the other wins of other parties outside of the APC and the PDP, this is likely going to make this incoming 10th National Assembly the most diverse since 1999 in terms of party representation. So for the Labour Party legislators that are heading into the National Assembly, what should Nigerians expect from them?
My principal has always said it, that he's going to build a government of national unity. So Labour Party will always liaise, will always work together with any party or any individual politician who believes in the new Nigeria, which is only possible with the enthronement of honest and competent leadership. So whoever believes in that policy, my principal has always said he is willing to work together with such persons. If he comes to power, as we pray that he will, he has promised that he is going to look for competent Nigerians with integrity to take over the affairs, to take over the helms of affairs of Nigeria, irrespective of their party, irrespective of their ethnicity, irrespective of their religious background, without compromising the need for federal character to be reflected in his government, and to ensure that our diversity is recognized and everybody is carried along. So he's going to do it, and there will be a lot of unity and working together with other political parties.
But your answer speaks more to the possible, I'll use the word possible, cabinet that Peter Obi could have put together, or could put together, if the dispute at the tribunal is said to go your way. But beyond that, in terms of the agenda, in terms of what ethos, what the background and the foundation of the Labour Party is for those individuals who have made it into the National Assembly, what are those things that you think they represent to Nigerians?
Security and welfare of Nigerians. You must have heard about our 7-point agenda: securing and uniting Nigeria, shifting emphasis from consumption to production, then building expansive and world-class infrastructure, leapfrogging Nigeria from oil dependency to the 4th industrial revolution, and robust foreign policy and human capital development. So it is going to center around these 7 priority areas to ensure that 4 years course will be 4 years course. No student will be allowed to stay in the university 1 day longer than necessary, to ensure that the crude oil which God has given unto us will be produced in Nigeria, refined in Nigeria, and Nigerians made to receive it at a reasonable cost, and the petrochemical industry built from there, because we are trying to shift emphasis from consumption to production. Isn't it criminal that an oil-producing nation will be paid more than 7.2 trillion naira as oil subsidy, building the refineries in other countries, building their shipping, building their production, while denying Nigerians the employment that these things would have engendered? So my principle in the National Assembly or anywhere, everything we're going to do will revolve around achieving our 7-point agenda.
So you mentioned a willingness to work with other political parties. Let's talk about one of your main opposition parties, and that being the People's Democratic Party. We've seen them be a bit more conciliatory towards the Labour Party in recent times, particularly after the elections. And there's also been some speculation that there could be some form of coalition or partnership coming, especially after that press conference in which we saw the vice presidential candidates sitting together. Is this a real possibility, given how Nigerians seem to believe the Labour Party is a different animal, is a different type of political party versus what many people have possibly against the APC and the PDP? Can you get into bed together and work together with the PDP?
Well, you can only get into bed together with people that you have, the same DNA. A man cannot get into bed together with a woman except there is some, love and the agreement, and then the affection is flowing. So we are a different political party. Our ideologies are different, but like I say, in this course where our mandate is robbed openly, good. If PDP wants to align with us to help us achieve our mandate, fine. But there is no alliance in terms of administration. But, if we are going to court as people who want to reclaim our mandate, if they can assist us in any way, fine. But there is no alliance.
So beyond the PDP, have there been any overtures from any other political parties? Because we do tend to keep the focus on the APC, the PDP, and now the Labour Party. But beyond that, looking at structures and looking at how things play out across Nigeria, is there anyone else that may be extending a hand to the Labour Party?
Well, like I say, Labour Party is the first party in Nigeria now. So it's expected that every other party will be, seeking for a kind of alliance with Labour Party. You've heard a lot of governors begging the obedience in their states, for the obedience to give them listening ear. So you've heard a lot of things. So the Labour Party is the first party in Nigeria now. Just wait until when we stay for a longer time, when we will articulate ourselves better, you will discover that it's Labour Party and others. So every party should, as a matter of necessity, and they are doing it. If you go to Nasarawa, you see them begging. Go to Gombe, you see them begging. Go to Lagos, you see them begging. And who are they begging? The obedient. Because we are the first party in Nigeria now. So we will not allow ourselves to be tainted. Our focus is pointer to a new Nigeria, which is only possible through the institution of competent and honest leadership. We are not going to back down on that. So anybody who is going to join us in this train, what's a new Nigeria, which is only possible with P2OB for now, fine, he's welcome.
So let's look at some of the situations developing at the state level. We, of course, know about what's happening in the Rivers state level of the Labour Party, which we had the chairman endorsing the PDP for governor. We've seen what's also happening with Oyo State and Governor Seyi Makinde in that regard, as well as an endorsement from a Labour Party in that state. When you look at sort of what we've seen as the fallout, and even right before the presidential election, some cross-carpeting activity, do you think the Labour Party can withstand what is sort of the traditional method of operation of most political parties and political players in Nigeria? This attempt to cross carpet, to find more palatable platforms for their ambitions. Can Labour Party withstand what we see happening right now?
Well, you can agree with me that the obedience are the structure of our movement, and Nigerian people are the structure. It's not about political party. You will agree with me that if it is about political party, we wouldn't have performed what we performed. It's not possible. So allow any person that is saying his Labour Party on the state level, making any statement, ignore them. The national body has dissolved the state executive council of Rivers State. So they are not speaking for us. Meanwhile, the obedience are the focal point to our success in our elections. And the obedience have spoken, through our principal, P2B, and then the national chairman, that we are supporting all our candidates of Labour Party, wherever they are. And that is final. So we have not recognized any coalition with anybody, and any state chapter that is doing it is not doing it on behalf of the obedience. The state chairmen are talking on behalf of themselves. And we know what went on in Rivers. We're still investigating that. So there has been an investigation going on even before now on the leadership of the LP in Rivers State. So for now, they are dissolved. So they are not speaking for us. And any other state chairman that is not following the Labour Party candidate is not speaking for Labour Party. So obedience should not back down in voting Labour Party candidates all through.
All right. Olukayode Salako is on the phone with us now, able to join the conversation. Olukayode, I want to talk about your experience on February the 25th. So you threw your hat in the ring for the House of Representatives for Oshodi Solo Constituency 1 here in Lagos. We've seen Labour contesting the presidential election results, but Labour is also very happy with the fact that it won Lagos State. If the party is contesting at the presidential level, doesn't this throw the win at the state level into dispute? So I have to also ask you, are you disputing your loss at the state level here in Lagos?
Let me correct it straight away. I did not lose. I won my election squarely with wide margin in Oshodi Solo Constituency 1 as the candidate of Labour Party for House of Reps. I did not lose. I won. It is the agent of election manipulation that have been trying to, shortchange my victory for their own candidate. That is the candidate of their own party. And to be precise, the candidate of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Honorable Bashiru Daudu, who did not win the election. They want to impose him on the good people of Oshodi Solo Constituency 1. Are you listening? Hello?
Olukayode, I can hear you. Go ahead.
They want to impose Honorable Bashiru Daudu as the winner of the election. Whereas the Honorable himself knows that he did not win. The people of Oshodi voted for Rotarian Olukayode Ezekiel Salako to be their next MHR representative of their constituency in Abuja. So I am not accepting that I lost the election. I didn't lose. We have evidence of the results we collected from the field, which has proved that I won the election with wide margin. But from the results, the INEC has slowly been uploading on the IRF server, IRF electronic server. It has also shown there that I am also leading. Out of 365 votes, about 8 or 9 days after the election, against the law, against the regulation put in place by INEC itself, that election results must be captured at the polling station immediately after the election by the beaver device, beaver capturing machine, and immediately uploaded to the IRF uploading a server, electronic server. On the day of election, the INEC rule did not say the second day. The INEC rule says it must be uploaded immediately after the election on that day. This is about 9 days. Against the rule, the law, INEC itself set. And they are still slowly, reluctantly uploading my results. The result of the election we had in Oshodi Solo Constituency 1.
Okay.
Now, out of 365 polling units, INEC has only uploaded 297. 297 out of 365 against its own law, set rules. And in all of that, the results the addition of the results shows that I am still leading. How can I be leading on the field? I'm be leading on the INEC server, and anybody now wants me to have said that I lost the election. No. The onus of proof lies with INEC itself, because INEC has the certified true copies of all the results generated from each polling unit from the day of election. It is in the custody of INEC.
So, have you filed a case now at the Election Petition Tribunal? Have you filed a case at the Election Tribunal in regards to your loss?
The law in the new Electoral Act, the provision of the new Electoral Act gave me 7 days. Gave candidates 7 days to protest. If that candidate is not pleased with the process that led to the collation of results, his results, or his election results, and a winner declared, that the candidate can call for a review of that process within 7 days, which I have done. I did that within 7 days, but surprisingly, INEC has refused to do anything about it. INEC is yet to answer me, to let me know their response. INEC is not responding. So, I have met with that provision. I am still waiting for INEC to do a review of that process that led to that surrounded the collation of our election results in Oshodi Local Government 1, and a purported winner declared. I am not accepting the outcome of that result.
All right.
The party.
Okay. Olukayode, I need to take a break here, and you've taken me into INEC, which is the next point of call when we come back. I still have Olukayode Salako as well as Kenneth Okonkwo, and we'll get into issues around INEC, the fallout from Nigeria's February 25th elections, and of course, what the Labour Party is expecting come March 11th. Fallout from Nigeria's February 25th elections continues, and many Nigerians are expecting, unfortunately, more issues to be thrown up for the Independent National Electoral Commission as it conducts the March 11th elections. But INEC has said it will do better with these next set of elections. Does the Labour Party really believe this? Olukayode Salako, Labour Party candidate for the House of Representatives for Isolo Constituency 1 in Lagos State, and Kenneth Okonkwo, the spokesperson for the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council, join me on Politics HQ. Now, Kenneth, let's look at the elections that are coming up. In a bit of retrospect, INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu, while addressing resident electoral commissioners, also admitted some level of fault in issues around logistics, election technology, and the behavior of election personnel at different levels. He has now warned resident electoral commissioners that they would be held responsible for flawed logistics. It was also reported today that INEC has directed the REC in charge of Sokoto State, Dr. Nura Ali, to stay away from the commission and Saturday's elections. Does this admission of failure and also the sacking or the removal of the Sokoto REC, does that really put anything to ease for Labour Party? Does it mean anything for your party, which has faulted the commission's handling of the elections and also is disputing the presidential results?
Well, the INEC chairman was wrong in using the word flaws. He would have used the word criminality, because what they did on February 25th was sheer criminality. And it was very brazen and very open. The law is very clear. In section 60, subsection 4 and 5 of the Electoral Act, he said, gather the votes after the election, when you have done accreditation, count them, announce them publicly, record them in the beavers on the day of election in the polling unit, then transfer and transmit electronically to the IREV portal and the server. This is section 60, subsection 4.5. Then subsection 6 of section 60 says, any INEC official that fails to do this has committed an offense and is liable to jail and fine. INEC has not done this. 10 days after election. Now, in section 64, subsection 456, the law is very clear. Do not collate or announce results except you subject the collated result to the results. In other words, except you have confirmed and except you have verified and confirmed the correctness and consistency of the result you have in your hand with the result that was uploaded in the beavers on the day of election from the polling unit. INEC did not do that. They just came in with concocted, manufactured results from the pit of hell and announced to Nigerians. And 10 days after, they went to court to obtain an order of court to reconfigure beavers. Meanwhile, you have not brought the evidence of the uploaded results. Then the ones you announced, where did it come from? From the pit of hell. And the law is clear. Any INEC official that collates and announces any result without verifying it, without one in beavers, committed an offense. And again, the law again said in that same section 64, if there is any dispute in the collated result, check the beavers and use the result in the beavers to announce to the people the correct result. Now, INEC did not even have results in the beavers at all on the day that we are purportedly collating or announcing. There was no result in the beavers. That is criminal. So Mahmoud coming to hypocritically say he's observing some flaws. That's hypocrisy. What you should have told Nigerians is that there was sheer criminality. He should have submitted himself willingly to the police force to be arrested and prosecuted with all the INEC officials that willfully did it on that day. And let me state one thing. Beavers did not malfunction at all. At all. Because beavers accredited the voters. Nobody complained. There was code to transmit and transfer the election from the Senate, election from the House of Representatives, but none for that of the presidency. And they will tell you that there was no code. And they will tell you that it is not transferring online when they have transferred the other two. Meaning that there was a willful and intentional act by INEC officials led by Professor Mahmoud to ensure that the presidential election is not transmitted so that it can be manipulated to bring the APC candidate to power. So that is sheer criminality. And that is what Professor Mahmoud should be confessing, not hypocritically saying there were flaws. There were no flaws. So
I want to take you up on the Electoral Act. So, yes. Kenneth, I want to take you up. Yes, I can hear you, and I want you to hear me now. So I want to take you up on the Electoral Act for that section 60, subsection 5. So we've seen the videos. Last year, the INEC chairman was on about a media tour telling people there would be an electronic transmission of results. So it is a matter of probably overselling what INEC was likely very capable of. But just a few days ago, we heard from the House of Representatives, and they said that what they passed in the Electoral Act was not about electronic transmissions. And the act itself, as you referenced, says that the presiding officer shall transfer the results, including total number of accredited voters and the results of the ballots, in a manner as prescribed by the commission. In a manner as prescribed by the commission now seems to be the bone of contention, because you're saying it should have been electronically transmitted in terms of the results. INEC said, well, some people were trying to hack us. We realized very late on that we would not be able to do as we promised. So when you look at sort of the turnaround that has happened now when it comes to electronic transmission, whether it's in the act or not, looking at this issue of prescribed manner by INEC, which is the agency involved, what do you say to that in this sort of like 180 degree that INEC has done?
Oh, very good. First and foremost, thank goodness that you recognize that the act said there must be a transfer. At least that is in the act. And there was no transfer at all in the case of presidential election. So INEC has failed, even by the act. But let me tell you another thing. Don't allow some crooks in the INEC to deceive you. Let me tell you what was passed by the National Assembly. When Nigerians insisted on electronic transfer of results, so they said, if we mention BVAS in the act, another technology might come next time. And it will now need that we have to amend this act. So what we should do is to mention there must be a transfer and then allow INEC to determine the electronic gadgets they will use. Of course, when you're talking about transfer, they are not birds. You're already talking about electronic transfer. It's implied because you're saying from the polling unit to the server. Now, INEC has fulfilled that by law, by clause 38 of the guidelines of the election 2023. INEC made it clear that there will be a transmission of results electronically using BVAS. They specifically mentioned BVAS. So what the National Assembly said, they will not mention BVAS in the Electoral Act, so that they wouldn't need to run back to amend if INEC determines that a better technology has arisen. So INEC now in their guidelines, according to the law, he said as determined by INEC. So INEC has already determined that in their guidelines, clause 38, where he said that there's going to be an electronic transmission of results through BVAS from the polling unit that same day. So it's already settled. That's the position of the law.
I want us to stick to this because I have more questions, but also you mentioned something. I think we need to bring that up, and that's because of the elections coming on March the 11th. You talked about the need for reconfiguration and how it's an issue now, because it was reported that INEC said they would likely approach the Court of Appeal for an order to be able to reconfigure the BVAS machines for the March 11 election. So the commission needs the order because the LP and the PDP got an order which restrains INEC from tampering with information embedded on the machines until due inspection is conducted and certified true copies are issued. So given the fact that reconfiguring the machines reportedly takes maybe about 5 days, what's the Labour Party's stance on the possibility that there could be a delay in the March 11th elections if INEC is unable to configure the machines on time?
Now, is it not scandalously criminal and ridiculous that INEC that ought to transmit results on the day of election, 10 days after that, they have not finished uploading the result? And then we went to court to say, let us have access to the evidence that we need to defend our mandate in court. And then you're going to court for court to give you an order to destroy our evidence in court. Is that not, what is the level of impunity that we can entertain in this country? So why should you even come to mention the election of March 11th when you have not completed the election of February 25th? Because the law is very clear. You have to transmit that result to INEC server. So INEC has not even completed the first process of election and is purporting to have collated and announced the result. Is that not an admission that there was no result collated and announced as was done by Nigerian people or as voted by Nigerian people? Because you're telling us that you have collated and announced the result. Then what would have been the difficulty in uploading these results if actually they were the result that we are getting from polling units? The truth is that the result they announced, we are not getting at the polling unit. That is why they are finding it difficult now to reconcile the criminality. And they want to use courts as a scapegoat, or they want to use courts to perfect their criminality. What are you going to court for? Give us the evidence that is in the beavers according to the law. And you're saying you want to reconfigure. Reconfigure what? You have not finished an election after collecting 306 billion naira, and you're rushing to another election. So what is the guarantee that the next election you will not do the same? Finish this one first. Give us the evidence. 10 days you have not given us the evidence. We have gotten an order of the court to have access to your evidence. You don't have it because it's not existing. What you're feeding in the beavers now is the concocted results which are not adding up. That is why they are in a quandary. So please, INEC should do the right thing. They should stop taking Nigerians for a ride. They should provide the evidence, complete uploading, and uploaded the result to the beavers before talking about touching the beavers. It's sacrosanct.
So, Kenneth, I want us to be very clear on this. The Labour Party is very okay with a situation in maintaining the status quo and the delay of the March 11th elections, if necessary, in order to get its evidence that it wants to take to court. I want us to be very clear, and I want Nigerians to hear you clearly.
It is not my duty to talk about delay.
Okay.
INEC collected 306 billion naira to organize an election. Now, if they cannot organize the 25th election and March 11th election, what the INEC chairman should do is admit failure and step down so that another more honest and more competent person should take over and then give us our election so that we follow our schedule. There is no problem with beavers. Why are you tampering with it? You just want to tamper with evidence. There's no problem with beavers. If you had done what you're supposed to do, we wouldn't be in this situation. Beavers work perfectly well. You withdrew the code. You blocked them from transmitting so that you can rig the election. And you're saying you want to reconfigure the beavers to suit your manipulated result. And then you want Nigerians to be following you. No. The court has rejected that and should reject that. So I'm not saying they should delay.
Okay.
I'm saying they should do the right thing. You cannot be talking about reconfiguring beavers for any reason whatsoever. So do the right thing, which is conclude this election, then do your election on March 11th. If you're not able to do that, Professor Mahmoud should step down. He ought to have even stepped down before. He has already acknowledged that there were criminality. I use the word criminality because he said flaws, and the flaws that he said were criminal in nature. So he ought to step down. I'm not saying delay or no delay. It's not my business. What I'm saying, you cannot tamper with the beavers until you complete the process that the law says you should complete with the beavers.
Okay. So let me ask you this, because you did mention the courts. Do you think that the Labour Party can get a fair hearing in Nigeria's judicial system? Is that something the party believes? You're heading to court, you're in court, you've had this first order. There's going to be a number of interesting things that come up in the coming days and weeks at the Election Petition Tribunal. But is there a belief in the party overwhelmingly that the party can get a fair hearing, even if the hearing doesn't go the way of the party? Because Nigeria is not known to overturn presidential elections. Do you believe you'll get a fair hearing?
You know, I'll answer this in two ways. One, as a lawyer. Then two, as a spokesperson of my principle. And let me start with the spokesperson of my principle. I must have to say that my principle has had this exceptional grace that he succeeds where other people fail. Recall that from 1999, he was the first person that recovered his mandate through the courts. Recall again that when he was impeached improperly, he went to court, he recovered his mandate. Recall again that when his tenure was breached improperly, he went to court again and recovered his mandate. So he has been a man that has had exceptional grace following him, that has used the judiciary to democratically disrupt some evil people and evil machinations in Nigeria. So he has really brought about democratically engineered disruptive change. So my principal has said, having gone through that, he believes that the judiciary may just wake up like they have woken up for him in the past and give judgment according to the law. But me, personally, as a lawyer, from what is going on recently, I have my doubts. I sincerely have my doubts, because there are some judgments that have been coming on from the Supreme Court that have been very disturbing. The Machina case is there, wherefore, using technicality, you gave judgment in favor of a man who did not participate in any primary at all. It is very disturbing. Then some other cases too. But like I say, as a lawyer, I have my doubts. But as the spokesperson of a man who is so engraced that God is always on his side, that he brings about disruptive change that has not been there before. So if justice is granted him, he said he won. I agree with him, he won. And he said he was going to recover his mandate, and I agree with him too, using his antecedents and the amount of grace following him. So this is my answer to that. As a spokesperson to a man so engraced, I have my hope, I have my belief, I agree with him. As a lawyer, I have my doubts.
All right. So, Kenneth, before I let you go, I have this final question, because a party is not one man. And some critics have said that the Labour Party's progression is central to Peter Obi. It's tied to Peter Obi. The progress, success, popularity of the party is tied to Peter Obi. So is there a Labour Party without Peter Obi, remembering the fact that he did come from PDP last year, just a few months before the elections, not even up to a year before the elections. So is there a Labour Party without Peter Obi?
Well, sorry, I want to disagree with you respectfully. Labour Party is not tied to Peter Obi. Labour Party is tied to the quest for a new Nigeria. They just saw in Peter Obi the symbol of that hope for a new Nigeria. And that is why Peter Obi became a symbol of the movement. So no single human being is indispensable in this movement. Recall. I want you to recall that this movement started way back from 2019, where they were mentioning the third force, but unfortunately, they did not find any central symbol that they can follow, and they lacked. So this time around, that same third force galvanizing itself and building in strength that has become a hurricane, that has become a wind for justice, now found a man of character, competence, and capacity, a man of conscience, a man of communication, a man of comprehension, a man of compassion, a man of creativity, a man of commitment, a man of consistency. They found all this in Peter Obi, and they were very joyous, and they decided to make him the symbol. So it is not right to say that Labour Party is built on a single human being. No, Labour Party is an obedient movement, is a movement that is built on the philosophy of a new Nigeria, built on honest and competent leadership. And whoever fits into this, he will still have the clout to hold the obedient movement together. But for now, Peter Obi represents it. And We are very proud to have him for the new Nigeria. So it's a movement.
All right. We'll have to end the conversation on that note. We do look forward to having you back, Kenneth Okonkwo, as we see the developments, particularly after Saturday's elections, and as we see what happens on the legal and judiciary side of things in contesting the presidential results. Kenneth, thank you so much for joining me on Politics HQ.
Thank you.